Hello beautiful people and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls One Doc. It's your girl BD and Foreign's the fiance is on hiatus, so today we have another special guest. Now I have chosen this guest because I just thought it'd be kind of like circular. I don't know how to explain it, but I will in a second. I've known this guest for her whole life. And for that whole time, she has made my life worth living. I won't even lie. She's literally one of my favourite people on earth. And I love her more than life itself. I do. She really is that bitch. And I feel really privileged to know her like I do because she's a very antisocial individual, right? So I feel loved. I feel blessed. And I thought it'd be fitting for her to be here because she is my sister. And the first episode that we had a guest was Foren's sister. And the last one is my sister. And I just felt like, wow, what a full circle moment. So, yeah, welcome, sis.
Thank you for having me. I wasn't expecting you to wax lyrical about me like that. I thought you just gonna be like, yeah, it's my sister. I was like, okay.
Yeah, my baby. This is what I'm saying. Like, look at all the emotion I pour out and look what I get back in return. Mad.
Sorry, you're amazing. You're perfect. You're beautiful. You look like Linda Evangelista.
You look like Linda Evangelista. You're a model.
Everything's perfect. Did you stir in those tights?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so we're not drinking because I'm drinking water.
I'm not drinking anything.
Yeah, sis is ill.
Yeah.
Ecky's ill. So she is not drinking a thing. I mean, you probably should be drinking water.
I should be, but I don't know. It's been a very long day.
Yeah, sis is ill. We're recording remotely because I'm not trying to get sick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've got a flight to catch. I have a wedding to attend.
Ooh.
So this is...
Catching flights, not feelings.
So today we are covering the Real Bling Ring Hollywood Heist. Okay, so you can find it on Channel 4 if you're in the UK. If you're not in the UK or if you're in the UK with a VPN and want to avoid their annoying adverts, You can watch it on Netflix. Right, it's 3 episodes and we're going to cover it in this one episode. And why can we do that? Because there's so much filler in this series.
It's fitting because it's LA.
Huh?
So that's fitting because it is LA.
Fam. bare filler. It's just it. What did you think of the documentary?
I didn't like it. I found it really annoying. I just did not like it. I just thought they were trying to make me feel sorry for people that just weren't sympathetic at all. Everyone was a liar. It was just so incredibly vapid and it just everything about it. And it was weird because it's like with anything based in LA, I just tend to think that they try to sell you on LA whilst talking about LA. So
they want you to think, wow, how amazing.
Like you want to be here. Like you've got the guy from $1 Million Listing randomly.
Yeah, let's get into I didn't even bring him up when he comes up because I didn't even really okay, so episode 1 is called The Fame Game. Okay. And we have 2 main talking heads in the documentary. One's called Nick Prugo and one's called Alexis Nyers, right? And so we go back and forth between them a lot during the documentary. Now, the documentary is weird because it has them as talking heads, but it also has them as narrators, and it also has a narrator. It's strange. It's very weird. I don't really know
bizarre.
what... Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know what it was supposed to give, but it was just weird.
It felt very like Year 9 drama with their interjections and their voiceovers.
And then the spotlights.
Yeah. And you stay here and then you'll speak over it whilst you do this. Yeah. It was just like, okay,
and then it count to 5 and then what we're going to do is we're going to switch positions.
Yeah. And make sure you speak with feeling. It was so annoying.
So we learned about Nick first. Do you know what? When I watched it, I was like, oh, Ecky's going to hate this and it's going to be amazing to talk about. So we learn about Nick first, right? So he grew up in San Fernando Valley. And then we learned from the realtor, is this the $1 Million Listing guy?
Yes.
I don't remember him.
I think maybe it was the LA one because I saw him, Josh, and I was like, you look familiar. Googled Josh reality TV realtor. And yeah, he's Josh Altman.
And he came up.
Yeah.
I think was there $1 Million Listing in New York?
I think so. With Ryan.
I think maybe that's the one that I watched.
Maybe?
With that Ryan guy. Yeah,
Right.
and the Louis guy or whatever his name is. Yeah. So he's basically saying San Fernando Valley and that is where you live if you can't afford to live in LA. So we're already getting the vibe that Nick is always aspiring to LA but never quite had LA. He's always the haves and the have-nots. He had not, okay?
But then he didn't have not that, not.
Exactly. He lived in a normal suburban life. But also I think he was just obsessed with celebrity life and celebrity culture, yeah. Because he was like, oh yeah, he always wanted to be an actor and he played an extra on Zoe 101. Yeah. Shout out to Zoe 101. That was an amazing show. And now you see me standing here.
Oh God, she went left, didn't she though?
Yeah, well, hold
Jamie
her,
Lynn,
Jamie Lynn, boy. So yeah, he was an extra on that show, and he tells us
it wasn't the acting I was enjoying per se, it was the experience of the cameras and the attention.
it wasn't the acting he was enjoying, it was the attention and the experience. So basically he's a fame whore, like he just wants to be famous. And then when the director says this, he says no, but it's like, no, but you did though, you did just want to be famous.
He didn't know anything. He was so annoying. Like, he would just speak and it's like, oh, you know nothing of which you speak. Like, I think they wanted to be influencers before influencing was a thing.
Exactly, because because this all happens in like the early 2000s. If influencing was a thing, that's the route they would have gone down,
100%,
because that's a lot more accessible and it's a lot easier. But this was like the closest thing to it back then, I think. So now switch, we're learning about Alexis grew up in LA. She's around famous people. Her dad was director of photography on Friends, and so she was just around that kind of thing, right? Her mum, Andrea, who we will speak about extensively as the documentary goes on, she was a model. She worked for Playboy, and she's really weird, like I say, but we're gonna get to that, right? So her mum, Andrea meets Michael, who's Alexis's dad. They have kids, they live a crazy life, drugs, parties, all that stuff. Anyway, Michael cheats on Andrea, they get divorced. So now Alexis and her sister Gabby live with their mum, and she's a single mum, right? They don't really talk about the dad much after this. Cool. I'm not surprised he wants no parts. He was wrong for cheating. So we're back to Nick, and this is what I'm saying, flip-flopping ass bitch. Like literally, we're flipping. So now we're flipped back to Nick. Nick is telling us about him being like a young teenager and coming to terms with being gay, right? And at this point, he also quits the whole acting thing and he moves to Calabasas. Calabasas is supposed to be a rich area, but they're not rich, which, I mean, it seems to me they have like decent money, maybe just not wealth, but they seem to have like decent money. Yeah, because
for Calabasas, don't we get Josh again? And I don't know who paid him for this, but not all money is good money, babe.
And that other stylist, I was like, girl,
there was no need for either of you.
No need
at all.
No need.
Maybe spend time on production, maybe coaxing other people to come and tell their stories. Maybe we could have used the money for that, but okay. But when he's talking about Calabasas, doesn't he talk about like, oh, The Weeknd lives here and Drake and Selena Gomez and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I thought it was a famous place.
I think it is a famous place. I think this is what my issue with LA and these documentaries or things that set in LA. It's almost like they're always trying to make you feel like this is where you need to be. It's like they're always doing PR for LA, and I'm not moved. Yeah,
like why can't it do it itself?
Yeah, and I'm not moved. It's like I think at one point he's like, yeah, all the supermodels are here. It's like, no, that's New York.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh,
actually,
the celebrities are here. It's like, I don't care to meet any of them. Like, it reminds me.
But that's you though. People actually care. People actually are like, oh my, because I remember when we went to
LA,
I
was thinking
like,
just that.
Even then, it wasn't like, oh my god, celebs. Like, it wasn't for us anyway. It didn't feel like, oh my god, like.
So I did think I saw David Schwimmer. I'm still mad that we didn't see any actual famous person. The closest thing we definitely saw was Kevin Nolan at Heathrow Airport. Do you remember?
Kevin Nolan, who's that?
He's a footballer, and we were standing behind him in boots, and I was like, oh, I think that's Kevin Nolan. And you're like, who? Is he famous? And I was like, and then he turned around to look at us, and I just sort of looked away. And in my mind, I'm like, cool, it's fine. We're going to LA. We're going to see so many famous people. We didn't see anyone.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking of is...
But I guess you have to know where to go, I guess.
Yeah, but I just thought they
No, but I worked with someone, and he was... Saying that, I worked with someone and he was telling me that when he lived in LA, he used to see RuPaul like just like on his bike just all the time, like just in the street, just amongst the rest of us.
Yeah, that's what.
So I guess that's what you expecting it to be like. Do you remember that time we went to we saw Orlando Bloom at the airport?
Yeah.
And then our cousin was like literally like trying to chase him.
Yeah.
But like kind of half chasing, half not.
It was really annoying, and I couldn't find my phone because I was just going to take a picture. Because I remember going back into school and be like, oh, I saw Orlando Bloom. People asked hella questions and they were like doubting me, and I was like, why are you doubting me? Why would I lie?
Why would I lie? Why would I pick Orlando Bloom?
Do you know what I mean? Of everyone, like no shade to Orlando. He appears here, but
yeah, exactly. He's actually very relevant to this documentary.
No, but what I was going to say was it's the whole happiness of LA. It reminded me of when we were in LA, and I remember you and I were in a cab, and I was 16, you were 18, and they had that cab driver, and he was like, what do you want to do with your life? And we said, we're going to go to uni and do these courses, da, da, da. And he was like, no, you should come to LA to be famous. And I'm like,
I have no recollection.
I recalled it because I was like, bruh, what?
Are you alright?
And we're like, yeah, we don't want to be famous, just rich. You'd be like, no, rich and famous. And I'm like, is this your story? Because you're not a testimonial. Do you know what I mean?
Is this what I can look forward to in the future?
Like, I was so confused,
Yeah,
but it's
it
like
is-
everyone,
it
there
is
is like a section of people that just love it. It's like, you remember that time when all the YouTubers were moving to LA, and they would move to
Yeah.
LA and they just become these
Yeah.
awful people, or like their
Yeah.
terrible nature would be exposed.
Yeah.
It's like, I just think it attracts just, anyway, it's fine.
It's crazy because the thing about wanting to be famous for these lots, yeah, especially, it's like there's nothing they want to be famous for.
Yeah.
Because even Nick being like, oh yeah, I want to be an actor, yeah, I want to be this actor. It's like, if you decided you wanted to be an actor and you became famous from that, like, okay, cool, I get it, you're an actor, you're a good one, so now you're famous. But like, you just want to be famous, you just want paparazzi taking pictures of you, and like, for
you.
what? Like, to what end? Like, what is the point?
It's so annoying, and yeah, they're just not likable. And I feel like they spent 10 minutes in this documentary. This first episode is 47 minutes. Spent 10 minutes setting up this sort of backgrounds. And like, normally in documentaries, when they do this, you get the sense they're doing it because there is something tragic in the background that can explain the actions.
Yeah.
Here, I'm not sitting here saying their life was a walk in the park, but it wasn't exactly turmoil and turbulence.
Like, one doesn't beget the other, basically.
Exactly.
Because it's like you had, and that's why all of this was filler, because it was like, literally, this documentary could have been, the whole thing could have been 47 minutes.
Yeah.
What you did, what happened,
100%.
and what resulted from it. That's it.
It takes 10
Like-
minutes to give us their background, and they take 50
Yeah.
seconds to give us a setup of how it started. I'm
Yeah,
like, I would have rather
exactly.
had a longer time
Spend the time on
how it started, because it just feels very rushed. Like, oh, okay, like, we'll get into it, but it just feels so rushed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, please, guys, watch it. Like, even if you just watch like the first few minutes, the vibe of the documentary is just
So
weird.
bizarre.
It's really strange. So yeah, what's his name? Nick's idea of like being poor is that like, oh, everyone's got Mercedes and his mum's got a Honda.
No,
and I'm
she's
just
got
like,
a car,
babes,
babe.
like, people are actually dying. Like, are you alright? People are
Lord.
dying. You talk about Honda. So Nick meets this girl called Rachel.
Rachel was just everything I wasn't. Super confident, super popular, super pretty. She seemed to know the good-looking people, the right people. She kind of took a shine to me. She brought me out of my shell.
And Nick is basically flattered that she liked him.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that she liked him. I feel like she just knew she could take advantage of him.
I don't. So here's the thing with Nick. I can't trust him as a narrator, and I don't trust anything he says. I don't trust anyone
Yeah.
and what they say
He's
in
an
this documentary.
unreliable storyteller.
So him, sort of the way he sort of sets up Rachel, I don't know if I believe that. I'm not even lie. I put already blaming the person of colour. I said it started.
Yeah, because Rachel's East Asian.
She's East Asian. I
Yeah.
think she's
Do you
Korean
know what?
American.
Nick, I don't know. Nick to me, especially back then, was giving like nerd, dork, wannabe kind of thing, right? And it's like the way he described Rachel is like he said everything I wanted to be, and
Yeah.
then went on to say confident, pretty, all these things.
Yeah.
So it's like you're saying, oh, I was a loser basically,
Yeah.
and Rachel took me under her wing, kind of. And it's like, I just think you were happy to be there, and Rachel was like, yeah, cool, why not? Because even from this,
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say I do
Okay.
get a sense of that. Like, potentially, I just don't think he is. I feel like he tries to limit himself majority through these
his
episodes,
culpability.
and then it gets to a point where he will get into it.
yeah.
So it's very
Least real will.
confusing. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree with you
So-
to an extent.
Yeah, so at this point, this is where the documentary really starts. So this was the whole 10 minutes Eki was talking about where they were, setting the scene or whatever the fuck, yeah. So Nick tells us about a time that him and Rachel are coming back from a party, and there's this nice car around, and so she tries the handle to see if it's open, and it's open, okay? So she goes into the car. This is madness upon madness. She goes into the car, and she takes stuff out of it, just like that. And they end up with a bunch of cards, and they go shopping, right? What another thing they could have used their time in this documentary to do, yeah, is tell us what was the aftermath of that. So you were using these cards, and then nothing happened. Nobody reported it missing. Nothing.
It's so annoying. I want to hear from Rachel, because why are we taking 50
I
seconds?
wanted to hear from Rachel.
50 seconds they used to give us the setup. That's all we got. I just think it's really
Yeah.
random. So he should just who just randomly gets the urge? Let me open car doors
Yeah, exactly.
and see what's in there. It's so bizarre.
I think the only thing that I can think is that like this is not her first rodeo. Like she's been
Yeah.
doing this, right? And so this is her normal thing. But I mean, Rachel, the people who really should have been in this documentary is Rachel,
Yeah.
since she was
Rachel,
quote unquote the
100%.
ringleader. She's really the only person we really needs to hear from.
Yeah.
Alexis, yeah, cool. We'll get into Alexis, but like I'm
Not needed.
really. We needed Rachel basically.
We did, and it's annoying because like one thing they do throughout the series is they'll sort of say, oh, once they've committed some sort of act, like theft or whatever, there'll be a petty theft, maximum adult penalty 6 months.
Yeah.
Credit card fraud, maximum adult penalty 3 years, but they don't really come back to the credit card fraud at any point,
Exactly.
which is very annoying.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very hikihaga. So all of this happens back in the, like we said, early 2000s, back in the Paris Hilton days, Lindsay Lohan days. Like, this is where we are in the timeline of life, right?
Yeah.
People are obsessed with celebrities. Like, that was the beginning of the whole, you know, obsession. But now I guess they're more accessible because of social media.
100%.
So like, it's not quite as deep. I mean, some people still are crazy obsessed, but like, it's not quite as deep, right? So Nick and Rachel start hanging out more. They do what they call checking cars, basically see if they're open, steal them. One night there's a key in one of them, so they take the car. And it's like, okay, do you still have that car? Because Nick tries to say, oh yeah, because all the cars are so new, because everyone's so rich, like we just changed the license plates. You as a 16-year-old, where are you getting a fake plate to change the license plate? It's not like you're living the ghetto de la ghetto. Like, you're literally living in a suburban life. Like, I don't know. There's just so many holes. I'm just like, you spent time telling us what you wanted to tell us rather than what we actually needed to know.
Exactly. And the other thing is, if I randomly popped up with a car, someone would ask questions.
Like,
so
and
no
a
one
nice
asked
one at
questions.
that.
Exactly. Your mum was driving a Honda and that caused you severe distress.
Severe distress. If you rocked up with a Tesla, I would have questions.
Exactly. Your mum driving a Honda was a really rough time for you. Yet you come up with really Mercedes and shit, and that's fine.
And no one's saying anything. Come on, be for fucking real. So meanwhile, Alexis's mum is spending hella money just trying to stay young. She's what I imagine like an LA mum to be, like just a typical like fame whore. She's like Kris Jenner vibes.
Yeah, I wrote down she's a failed Kris Jenner.
Yeah, she is. And the only reason that people even give Kris Jenner her props is because she succeeded.
Yeah.
Andrea, she failed. Yeah. She has to file bankruptcy. Okay, the most important part that we need to discuss about Andrea is because she becomes a minister. They attend the Church of Religious Science. Okay, and Alexis is sure to say, which sounds like a cult, but it's not. And she says that because she knows it's a cult.
This was not your typical church. It's about how we can use our thoughts and emotions to create the life we want for ourselves.
It was literally just a manifestation church. Like, all the teachings that the YouTube girlies will show you.
Group.
Yeah.
Why do they keep saying church? Why do they use church? Why can't they use something else?
I don't know, to make it sound legit. But literally all the vision boards that people have and the manifestation and that they write down, they just collated in a group and then called themselves a church, and here we are.
And even on camera, like when the Andrea, when she's doing her talking head, there's like her little vision board thing like next to her. I'm just like, sis. And the thing is, you know that she probably thought, oh my gosh, yay, like they want to know more about this and like they're excited to know 100%. And I really want to share. These times the producers are probably like, look at this crazy woman and her.
Listen,
colouring board.
Andrea loved it. She loved all of it. Every last minute
it.
of this she loved. And my thing is with the vision board, and this is not to offend any of the vision board girlies, because me too, I have a vision board looking at it right now.
Same.
Had a couple. Only made a few visions, but it's fine. But this happened in the early 2000s and we were in 2022. This was released early this year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It seems as if you're still manifesting. How long does this take?
Listen, to me, and for the manifestors out there, like, I am not saying, like, I believe that words are powerful
100%.
And I believe that, I also though believe that faith without works is dead. So you can manifest all day long. I can manifest me being able to do the splits, from now to thy kingdom come. If I don't do my stretches, ain't no split gonna split.
Splitting. It's just interesting.
No split splitting. So it's just, I don't know, she just seems a bit deluded. Like Alexis isn't really here for it, but Andrea makes them repeat this affirmation every single morning, and as long as it's hell. And I am going to play as much of it as I can on this thing,
My chief aim in life is to strive to express greater and greater portions of my potential as a professional who is enjoying a successful career working in the film industry. The dominating thoughts in my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality.
It's like, okay, sis, like the whole thing really, this whole manifestation is for them to get on TV. Like that's the whole thing. Yeah. So now Perez Hilton is here. I had a visceral response to him being on my screen.
I don't like him.
I felt like, ugh. I don't know. And then I was like, my memory of him is that he was really trash back in the, like, he was like what Jason Lee is. He was like Jason Lee.
But worse.
If possible. Like, he was the original TMZ. I mean, in the second episode, he says he was the original TMZ, and I hate to give it to him, but he actually was, and that's not a compliment because TMZ is like trash.
What I
Trashiana.
thought that was hilarious though, because he says that, and then we go on to see that all the coverage that they talk about is TMZ, and it's not Perez
It's
Hilton.
so funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
Funny because I feel like even if you were the original like concept, like being able to like expose people and stuff, you weren't so high and mighty that like you overtook TMZ.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you're sitting in the corner bitter, like, oh, they stole my vibe, but then they're really succeeding.
Yeah.
We also meet these producers, Jennifer with a G and Amber. Trash. I can't even lie. Trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
They are, but then I'm also like, but you allow
I get
this.
it.
Yeah.
They're and the thing is that like I'm not trying to victim blame here. Yeah. We're gonna get into it later, but those producers, I say that they're trash as well, just because of their demeanor. Like we'll talk about them later. At this point in the documentary, though, they're kind of talking about like, oh, you know, TV made celebrities a lot more accessible. Shows like Cribs, you can see how they live. Like it just makes people aspire to the whole thing more, right? And I think the reason they're talking about this is because they're trying to set up the whole like, oh, this is why they did what they did, or why they were able to do what they did.
It comes back around later, and I made a comment on it, but I think they spend too much time thinking about society in them. And no, not having that.
No, not buying it. No thanks.
Nope.
So we're back with Nick, and he's saying that him and Rachel basically robbed everyone in LA. And then Nick is talking about, he sees I don't know if it's his friend, but someone he's friends with on MySpace, talking about how he was going away for ex-friend now. He was going away for 11 days. He says that on Myspace. So they're like, oh great, free yard. And what's his name?
Eden Shizzle. Because I just remember thinking,
Eden.
Shizzle?
I was like, oh, that wasn't even what got me. It was the Eden. I was like, oh,
no, because Eden Hazard.
Okay, I'm not a football babe like that. Do you know what I mean? So
fair enough.
So they go to his house and they rob it. They steal $30,000 to $40,000 worth of stuff, and we see the friend's video saying how he was mad about it.
But Nick says he stole $8,000 worth of stuff. I thought that was interesting.
And I like that they included that bit, because it was like, okay, like we don't trust Nick. He's just so smug and smarmy looking. Like he's so happy to be here. Like he is another one that fucking loves it. He loves it. Like he's so happy that he's here doing this today. Like he loves it. No regrets.
No, no regrets. Like he literally and keeps doing this whole we thing. And I guess it's because Rachel's not there that you can't corroborate it.
Because now he's speaking for her.
But he's like spends so much of these couple episodes trying to separate himself from everything, and it's really annoying. He's not.
But then also like still being very in it though, because you're here.
We'll get
like
to
Rachel's
it.
really trying to separate herself from it, like because she's not here.
We'll get into it because he says something later that goes. Interesting.
So Alexis has this friend called Tess, and Tess moves in with her. Andrea, the mum, like convinces them to become models like she was when she was 14. They're like 16, 17. Also, they just casually drop in how much they use drugs, like weed, cocaine, and alcohol, just casually, mum involved. Like it's weird, right?
I don't want to judge parenting, but this woman is a terrible person and mother.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Not a mother, not a parent, but like maybe she shouldn't have been one. Because
it's not everyone. I will stand on this hill. It is not everyone. Die on the hill. I won't just stand on it. It's not everyone.
I'll die if I have to, motherfucker.
It's not everyone that should become a parent. It's actually just not.
I believe that.
This woman said something along the lines of, I don't know if it was here or later. Oh, I knew they were doing.
It's when they were going abroad with like older men.
Yeah, something like, I knew they were doing. I was doing hallucinogens, and I just thought they were into that, but apparently they're doing harder stuff, and I'm like, sorry, what?
Yeah. Exactly. I was like, huh? She's like, it was just like weed and things. I didn't know that they were doing Oxy. I was like, hello, what?
Sorry?
These are not your friends. These are your children.
She wanted to live through her children, which is why them
100%.
doing this pin-up modelling, all of that stuff.
Because that whole modelling thing was just strange. And she was pushing it. I reckon if Gabby, Alexis and that were like, oh, mum, hey, I want to go and be an aerospace engineer. She'd have been like, oh, no, honey. No, let's do this modelling thing.
And this is what I'm saying. They're all tapped in the mind. All of them. I never say that, but they all of them have that sort of weird thing that same cab driver had.
That's the only way to describe it. They're actually tapped. They're fucked. But then you kind of have to be like to be craving fame so much, like by any means necessary. You're tapped. You have to be.
But then I do wonder. I'm like, does the part of her know that this makes her a terrible parent? Because she does do this thing where she'll deny saying something, and then Alexis and Gabby be like, "No, she did it."
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if it was this pin-up modelling. That
happens loads of times.
Yeah, where she said, "Oh, I didn't."
She was saying it's her idea.
Yeah. No. She was saying it was their idea, and they were like, "No, it's hers," or something like that.
Yeah, Alexis was saying it was Andrew's idea to do the thing, and then Andrew was like, oh yeah, no, like it was Alexis's idea. And it's like, no, but those are literally opposing things. They can't both have happened. It was someone's idea.
It was so annoying to watch. And I am ashamed to say that I used to watch a lot of reality TV as a child. I still do. And I do recall their show. I watched their show.
I have no recollection.
I don't think you watched it with
me.
me.
You was deep in reality TV back then.
I watched their show and I remember not liking her. And I'm still...
Oh, what, the mum?
It was weird. My perception of how this all went down was very different because of the way that show was done. But we'll get into that.
Right. Okay. So now Nick and Rachel decide to target celebrities. The first is Paris Hilton. They find her address from a website. I'm gonna reference this later on. And there's this bit where Nick, this bit really pissed me off the most, yeah? Because Nick is basically trying to do like how to break into a celebrity house. And he's like, okay, so first what you're going to do is, so this is not Ocean's 11, babe. Like, you literally Googled something, you found some public information, and then you tried your luck. Like, don't act like this is a whole like sort of criminal mastermind enterprise kind of vibe. Yeah. Like the way they did it with the music and like, okay, so what you want to do is, first you want to do this, then you want to do... I said, are you then now encouraging other people to do the same thing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and do you know what? And also, firstly, one thing that annoyed me, it took them 30 minutes to get into this. About 30 odd minutes.
Because we're literally nearly near the end of this episode.
47 minutes and 30 odd minutes it took us, but okay. The second thing is, I feel like it's like what you said, you're not some sort of criminal, and like you're not. And there's a reason we'll get into later why they're just genuinely not.
You're genuinely not.
But I think the other thing that annoyed me is like, why are there all these coincidences? Like, so Rachel, like, I don't feel like things are being explained. So like we said before, they were checking cars and Rachel just happened to check a car and we just happened to see that the car door opened. They just happened to find credit cards. And I think the other thing is, they just happened to find Paris Hilton's hider key. It just felt very... There's too many coincidences.
Exactly. Yep, I agree. He just, like, this is especially where I'm just like, you have no remorse whatsoever.
None.
Like, you don't feel bad about any of this. Yeah.
Not at all. He loves it.
He fucking loves it. So they take clothes, money, jewelry, and they don't see Paris as a victim because she has so much stuff. And like, by all means, like, do you know what I mean? I'd rather you steal from someone rich than from someone poor. But like, knowing that someone has been in your house, when you weren't there, is a very scary thought. And that's not something that you don't get because you're rich. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's a violation.
It is a violation.
It's actually a violation.
It's your safe space.
So it's your safe space if someone's come in there. So, I mean, I don't really buy that. Like, just because she has a lot of stuff doesn't mean that you're entitled to take it from her. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know, it's just whatever.
I had a friend that got burgled, and theirs was terrible because they saw them leave with like the car and stuff like that, and it was such a violation for them and her family, because these people have been in your house, you're there sleeping or whatever, and even if you're not there whilst it happens, right, even if you're out of town, it's still your safe space. Like, I would be looking around every corner wondering, and that I don't think anyone should have to go. I don't think anyone should have to go through that.
It's traumatizing.
It is trauma. It really is.
It's traumatizing, like, and for them to think, oh yeah, we're not hurting anyone. No, you actually are. Like, if you had deets them, maybe then they wouldn't have been so traumatizing. Maybe they wouldn't have missed 10k or something out of their account. I'm not saying do that. That's wrong. Please, everybody, that's wrong. Yeah. But 100%. I think that's a different violation to you entering my home, my safe space. And someone makes the point later on where they're like, these celebrities, their home is basically the only place they can go to where they're not being papped or whatever.
Yeah, to an extent. Come in there because Audrina Patridge, she had filmed a lot in her home, so it was a bit different.
But still though, like, that's your space. We're not in there. You're in there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So finally we get to how Nick and Alexis know each other, because at this point it's like Nick saying something, Alexis saying something. It's like, why are you two both here? So Tess, the friend that Alexis had living with her, introduces Nick to Alexis as a stylist. Cool, we'll get into the whole stylist thing in a second. And if you look at the way he dresses, anyway, I'll keep my thoughts to myself. So no, in fact, that's why we're here. If you see the way he dresses, you would be like, these clothes does not a stylist make.
Yeah, but 100% they saw a gay guy and they went, okay, yeah. Exactly. And I think in that era, a lot of people were doing this whole, I want a gay best friend. They were an accessory. Yes. And unfortunately, that still happens to this day.
Because even like Nene and Real Housewives, it was all that kind of like, oh, my gay best friend. Like
or
a
just
handbag.
My gay.
Yeah.
Just leave it hanging. Just my gay.
Yeah. And I think that's why it was relevant earlier on when they brought up the fact that he was gay or like finding his sexuality. Yeah. That was actually relevant to what we talk about later. But so Nick and Rachel, they don't hear anything about the burglary, right? So they go and they do it again. And then this is what Eki mentioned earlier, where they had a hider key. So this time they go and the door isn't open like it was last time. It's locked. And then Rachel, oh, by golly, she looks under the mat and whoa, there's a key. And not only is there a key, but they can use it and it works. And not only do they use it and it works, they take it with them and they can come back other times. And it's just like...
And bring friends.
And they bring friends. And it's just like, hey, we're going to go to Paris. Like, it's just terrifying. And also, like, they talk about how they took cocaine, yeah? And Nick is like, oh, it was the best cocaine I ever did. I'm like, you man are like 16, 17. This is crazy.
It's madness.
I think me and Forenz have spoken about. I think when I've spoken about the first time we saw someone take cocaine in front of us. I literally like.
I've never seen
Forenz
it.
Forenz was like, oh my god. She was like, oh my god. And I was like, just casually. It's like imagine going somewhere and someone just like picks up a cigarette and starts smoking. It was like that.
That's so wild to me.
Yeah, so it's very common. Like cocaine is very common.
I've learned this. I've just never been in the presence.
Yeah, it's crazy. But they're taking coke. They say, wow, amazing, great coke.
Also, I'd just like to point out that Paris Hilton's rep said that there was no illicit drugs.
Yes, yep. No illicit drugs were found in the home, they say. So now, right, they keep saying they keep going to Paris's house, whatever. And now they're like, okay, they actually want to steal like a large amount of things. So they want to enlist, and even today to camera, what's his name? Nick is basically like thinking he's a genius mastermind or whatever.
Yep.
Basically being like, oh yeah, we wanted to enlist someone else to do it. So that if he gets caught, it doesn't trace back to them. Why would it not trace back to you?
Because the guy, in their mind, the guy is just a co-worker of their friend Courtney's. So
they thought there's not even 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, but there's
not even 6 degrees of separation.
I also think, and here's my personal colour theory being proven, right? Mm-hmm. Because when Rachel's name was caught up, I said, oh, there's no black and there's no Latino. So my Asian sis, it's going to be you.
Yeah, you have to take the fall.
It's going to be you. I feel like, and maybe this is just me thinking too much, but also it's not. I think, and I wrote, my personal colour theory has been proven because I think there was also this sort of thing of Roy Lopez is his name. I don't know if you said his name.
Exactly.
He's my Latino
Roy
brother.
Lopez is his name. He's a Latino. Mi hermano.
Yeah, mi hermano. I think there's this sort of thing like they're not going to connect us because why would we be around him?
Yeah, why would be associated with that kind of person?
And it almost felt like we'll just leave him to take the fall for it.
Exactly.
We'll reap the benefits, but we'll leave him to take the fall for it.
And he's so dumb and he'll take the fall. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, and so they say,
disagree.
Well, they get him to empty the safe, and they think that if they empty her safe, that's what's gonna get attention. Because up to now, they've not had attention.
Exactly, no one's reported anything.
So they don't want it to be them. They want it to be mi hermano Roy.
Yeah, mi hermano Roy. So Roy does it. Yeah, shout out Roy. He takes $2 million worth of jewelry. Right. Turns out though they couldn't sell the stuff. Obviously you couldn't sell it. What did you think? It's like, did you even have a 3-point plan? You literally just vibes. And I guess this just highlights how young they were at the time as well, because it's just like, come on, you're so stupid.
He does it and it makes the news.
Yes, exactly. So now they can't go back to Paris's house. That's a big deal. But they're like, oh, we have so many more celebs to choose from. And that's the end of episode 1. Okay, it ends with on-screen text saying that they tried to talk to some people like Roy, Rachel, but they declined to comment. And then that's when we get the text about Paris's people saying there were no drugs.
Yeah. Also, the stuff about the stylist. So Tess says that Alexis knew full well that man was not a stylist, and that's something they keep reiterating at the end of every episode,
over and over and over again. Episode 2: Fame, Fortune, and Felony. So it opens up on Oscar night, which is important because it means everyone's out and so houses are vacant, right? They decide to break into Audrina Partridge's house. I have no recollection of this lady.
So the Hills, right? So it was like Lauren Conrad, Audrina Partridge, Spidey, Spencer and Heidi, all of them, man. Yeah. And they were just very annoying.
Yeah, I never watched the show.
I didn't either.
I wouldn't have known. Even if I saw like Heidi and Spidey, I don't think I'd recognise them.
But
if someone said, oh, it's Spidey, I'd say, oh, great, I've heard that before.
I didn't watch the show, but I used to watch E! News. Let me tell you, E! has done irreparable damage to this world.
Irreparable damage.
And they will pay in the afterlife. It's fine. All of them. So. Ryan Seacrest, you will pay.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah.
So Audrina is here with us today telling us how much this affected her.
I actually had just got back from Australia. I went on my first huge shopping spree where I spent so much money at Maxfield's with a stylist. And then I went to an Oscar event.
She'd gone on a huge shopping spree, and I swear to God, yeah, I cannot wait for the day when I can just go on the shopping spree that I deserve. I promise you, God, I will not squander the funds. Lord. I will buy timeless pieces. I will buy beautiful, beautiful gowns, gorgeous gowns.
Amazing gowns. I will not buy crap Chanel.
I will buy vintage Chanel, guard, with real gold.
Okay. Not Virginie
real gold,
Viard's.
Lord.
We won't be buying Virginie Viard's Chanel or Maria Grazia Chiuri's Dior. Okay. Lord. We have taste in this household.
Please, God.
Oh, Lord.
So she comes back, and literally she comes back, she drops her bags, she goes out, yeah. And these lots come in, yeah. They take everything. They even take her Louis Vuitton suitcase full of clothes, as in like she packs to go on holiday. They just took everything. They took everything. She has a lot of stuff sent to her from PR. They take that as well. And it's like, I understand that maybe one person doesn't need all that stuff. Like with PR, you can't possibly use it all. Okay, fine. I hear that theory, yeah. But then I should be able to give those things away to people, right? They don't deserve to be taken from. It's like so you being at a restaurant, yeah, a buffet, and you've stacked up your plate, and someone says, "Actually, I'm not gonna lie, you don't need that much food. Here, I'm taking it."
It's wild,
brother. What? It's literally on my plate. It's mine.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So Audrina has the kind of response that I would have, because she's like terrified, and it's like, oh my gosh, like clearly someone's been in my house. What if they're still here? What if they're waiting? What if they're gonna kill me? And again, this just emphasizes the whole violation of the whole the whole violation of burglaries, right?
And what they did, and this is like the only thing I like that they did, is during Audrina sort of talking about how sad it is that she's been robbed and all of that stuff, we kind of get these interspersed images of Nick, and he's just sort of fixing himself up, and we see that throughout. Like they use these same sort of stock kind of videos they've taken of him sort of fixing himself up. But I think what it does do, I think it hammers home the point that he doesn't care, and I don't necessarily think he
give a fuck.
I don't think he did that motion knowing it'd be used in that way, but I do think it is quite effective in the way that it is used, because you just kind of get the sense he doesn't care. It's just still all about them. Like she's talking about being violated.
Even in interview to camera, his demeanor is not like, I'm not saying he has to be remorseful, like crying on the floor or whatever to prove that he's remorseful, but like he just seems like he's like, it's like the memory of it is exciting him.
Oh,
it's like
100%.
So like he's getting off on thinking about what he did.
He is. And just to note, like throughout this entire thing, when they start committing burglaries and stuff like that, the show keeps telling us the maximum penalties, right? So for 2 counts of burglaries, it's 12 years, blah, blah. And I made a note because I wanted to know how much they should have gotten and compare with how much they should.
So you're doing a cumulative
I most
count.
certainly did.
Okay, great. Love that. And this is why you're here, because I wouldn't have done that shit. So we meet this detective who investigates the Audrina Patridge crime. His name is Greg Kading, and he makes a really good point about the whole violation of being burgled. He says it later on, but I'm going to put it in now.
The personal impact on victims of burglary is sometimes overlooked. And property taken sometimes is irreplaceable. In the case of Bilson, we know that her mother's engagement ring had been stolen. I've heard it said they're wealthy celebrities. They can afford to lose these things. Or, hey, they didn't lock their doors. They were, it's their fault. We have to stop looking at the victims as being responsible. The perpetrators, they had no regard for these people as human beings.
And it's really, really true. We also see the CCTV footage of Nick and Rachel, right? And this is what Eki was saying about, like, fuck Perez Hilton and shout out TMZ, because they send, the police send this video to TMZ and they're like, listen, you have a really large readership or whatever it is. Like, maybe someone will see it on there and then identify these people.
So this is where I'm confused, right? Because it's weird. So like you said, they have CCTV. And what's weird to me is that they spent this whole time kind of acting like this, even though a lot of this stuff was coincidental, right? They did have the thought, okay, when people would be out of town, it's Oscar season, so, and when will they be out of their houses? And they were thinking, but never once did they seem to think about masks.
Yeah.
And this confused me the entire time.
Identity.
There was just no sort of concept. And I'm like, anyone, burglary 101, not that I am, skilled in the act of burglary, but number one, you'd get masks. Like, try and disguise yourself. They don't do that. They come up with ways to do it. They're very stupid ways.
But this is what I'm saying, like, so part of me is like, you guys were literally just children, like, winging it. But But today, Nick is trying to make it seem like this was a criminal operation and like they really, really thought about it. And it's like, bro, a scarf does not a mask make. Like, what are you doing?
And also,
what's he doing?
I don't buy the children angle, because the first thing you can ask a 4-year-old, maybe not 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, hey, what does a burglar have? And they'll say a mask, ski cap. They may not know the name, but they'll know. So you at 16, again, not advocating for the burglary, but you at 16, 17, 18 should have known to bring that.
Do better.
Yeah, honestly, if you're gonna burgle properly.
Burgle, man. Do it with your chest.
Like,
So Alexis says this whole Audrina situation, she doesn't see it because she's busy manifesting and doing up affirmations, yeah? Andrea gets a call from Dan Levy, who suggests they shoot a pilot for a reality show. So the manifestation has worked. Andrea says that she doesn't want to do it because she wants to do real acting.
Yeah.
Okay. And Alexis is like, no, absolutely not. She was on it from the very beginning. And I believe Alexis.
same.
I believe Alexis. This woman is hungry for fame. She's dying for it. Yeah.
She's so full of shit, honestly.
So Nick and Rachel are still robbing. They haven't yet been identified or arrested for robbing Audrina. So now they target Rachel Bilson.
One thing that Alexa says that I thought was quite hilarious, she sort of says, oh, you have a greater chance of winning the lottery than you do getting your own reality show on E. And I'm so sorry, but that is a lie.
What?
Listen, let me tell you the reality shows I was watching. We had the Kardashians, right? We had these pretty wild. There was a show called Leave It to Lamas, which it was about Lorenzo Lamas and his family. Okay. Juliana Rancic, or whatever her name was, she was a host on E. She got a reality show. Okay.
Oh, mad.
Rachel Zoe had a reality show. I don't know if it was on E though, but she had one. It just felt like they were handing them out. I think, obviously, in the grand scheme of life, getting a reality show is difficult. But like, as far as it being on E,
but I mean, we're not in that avenue,
right?
And it's kind of like it's almost like, okay, you're not going to win the lottery. You're not going to have a chance of winning the lottery unless you play it, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to have a chance of a reality TV show unless you're like in that vicinity.
Exactly.
So if you're in that vicinity and you play the lottery, you actually probably have more of a chance of winning of them having a reality show than winning the lottery.
Like, I don't think it was this sort of, I don't know, they were so proud of it and the chance to do it, and it's
almost
sad.
I don't want to say they peaked too soon, because like it was a peak for their lives, but it wasn't a peak in like life, right? So for them, that was the peak, the height of their success and everything, and it's downhill from them. So they're going to look back at those times fondly because it was amazing for them.
Yeah, I guess so. It was just so creepy, but anyway.
Yeah, it's sad that that's their amazing.
Yeah.
So Nick and Rachel rob Rachel Bilson. They steal $22,000 worth of things, including, as Greg said, her mum's engagement ring. And it's like, these are the things, like sentimental things, you know? Like, you've stolen my sense of peace and safety, and you've stolen something that I can't just go to the shop and get back.
Exactly.
Like what they think. Like, they think, oh, you've got all these Chanel bags, all these Hermes bags, cool, you can just go and get one again. Like, it's not that deep, it's just an inconvenience. No, I can't go and get my mum's engagement ring back.
Exactly.
And it's like, I wish that as burglars, like, if you see on the news that you've taken something sentimental, like, I wish something in you would just return that thing.
Yeah, because you don't need it. You don't care about her mum's engagement ring.
You don't care for it. And you're not going to wear it. Are you going to wear it out and about? Like,
well,
oh, so annoying. Yeah. So Alexis and Nick, they're cool enough where they go to parties together, take drugs together, and then one day they meet up and Nick takes the stolen goods. So basically, what they stole from Rachel Bilson, they take and they're like, oh yeah, everyone like choose what you want kind of thing. So it's Tess, Gabby and Alexis, yeah. And Nick is like, oh yeah, they always got the leftovers from the robberies. And that was starting from even the Paris Hilton days. Alexis is like, no, I didn't know. She thought that they were like Nick's clients, his styling, stuff like that. And Andrea is like, oh, like, how lovely. He's a stylist, you know, they can wear this stuff with their photo shoots to be these models I want them to be. So even if people want to say they didn't know, they must have at least suspected, but they turned a blind eye and thought, okay, well, I don't really care about where this is coming from. I just want this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know who's lying, but I hate them all. Hate's a strong word. Dislike. I dislike them all.
I don't rate them all. I don't rate any of them.
No, not at all.
I think Andrea's the anyway,
she is the worst, but I think Alexis does try to look. I feel like she's picked up on some of her mum's manipulative behaviour, because she does try to seem incredibly innocent, and I don't think
but
she is.
I can feel bad for Alexis because that's who raised you. Like,
100%.
how else were you going to turn out?
Yeah, no, I'm not sitting here saying I don't, like, because how you if you know better, you do better. She doesn't know any better. But I just feel like in this moment when you're trying to be this sort of reflective thing, at least take some accountability. And I don't think these people take any accountability for any of the crap they do.
And literally, we could end it here, because that's literally where I'm like, what's the point of any of this? What's the point of this documentary? For what?
Yeah. 100%.
The story's been told by a movie already. Cool.
It's ridiculous.
This documentary didn't reveal anything else. This documentary didn't let us see from your point of view any remorse or what you would have done differently or whatever. It wasn't even really authentic or genuine. Like, it didn't even seem like we're really getting the true Hollywood story. Those two producers I mentioned earlier, Jennifer with a G and Amber, officially introduced to us at this point, right? So Amber's like, my name's Amber Mazzola and I ruin people's lives. And I'm just like, this is why I'm saying they're trash. I think, so they work on Alexis's family show and they're literally laughing at them. And like you said earlier, like, they're dumb, as in Alexis and that. And they just want to be famous by any means. Yeah. And it's like, I do feel like there's an element of them taking advantage of how desperately they want to be famous, right? And Jennifer being like, oh, Amber being like, oh, I ruin people's lives, is kind of like, it's like you set out with the intention to ruin their lives because they were willing for their lives to be ruined. I don't know. And I'm a hypocrite. I am a hypocrite because I watch reality TV.
Same.
And I enjoy it a lot. And I can understand that, like, producers definitely play a part in every single aspect of these shows.
Yeah.
But it's just, when people are so vulnerable, it's like...
But in this case, I can't get behind they're so vulnerable. I can get behind producer trash. I don't know if I can get behind they are so vulnerable.
Not Andrea, but Alexis and that. They were so young when they were doing this.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. And they didn't have a parent.
It's like if someone was filming me at 16 or however old they were, like, I would have been, well, I was a very sensible child. But I am not emotionally and them especially are not like, I don't know, smartly is not a word. They're dumb, innit? They can't,
he said smartly and proceeds to say they're dumb.
They're dumb. Like, they can't, I don't know, like, even there's a scene later on in the next episode where she's like screaming on the phone at the, like, any normal person maybe would have a reaction but be like, oh, actually, I'm on camera, I'm gonna curb this reaction for now because I don't want to be a laughing stock, kind of thing. She doesn't have the emotional maturity to, I don't know. No, I do think...
To be fair, no, because you brought up that point, sorry to cut you off, but because you brought up that point, that is a very fair point to make, because even, and we get to see it later, people who should know better, and I mean outside of Andrea, are so taken in by being on TV that they act a fool. So, fair play. She is vulnerable. That is true.
Like, TV producers, I'm sure, like, the majority of them are actually trash. Like,
100%.
Because you're basically... It's different to like a fiction show because these are characters that they're not really real people. So like if I make Olivia sleep with Fitz and then punch Melly in the face, like that's not real. It's not real people. Do you know what I mean? But like when you're a TV producer for a reality show, it's like it's the same concept. Like, okay, we need to figure out how to get Olivia mad at Melly. But it's not like a script. It's like, okay, these are real people and I'm manipulating. That's the thing. That's what it is. I feel like they are manipulating them, right? And I get that. And it's like even with like reality shows that we watch and stuff, like competition shows, that kind of stuff, like there's going to be a certain level of manipulation, but like it's all for something. Do you know what I mean? You're here to win the crown, you're here to like bake a cake, you're here to, do you know what I mean? You're here to do certain things. So there's less, I don't know, I haven't worked on set anywhere in it, so I don't know how bad it can be, but when it's just reality show like the Real Housewives and stuff like that, it's like this is literally just all for drama. Which we enjoy, hence hypocrisy, I will hold my hands up. But there's just something about seeing them like in the talking head saying, oh yeah, I'm here to ruin people's lives. I was just like,
that's a very smelly thing to say.
Like even if you were joking, you weren't though, were you? Like you're literally getting off, and the way they laugh at them, it's like, like I
found
man.
that very like disconcerting.
Can we have some sympathy? Can we see them as human beings a little bit? So back to Nick being gay. For this show, they're kind of trying to like posit Nick as like the gay best friend, right? And he's uncomfortable with this because at this time it's like he's not too sure about his sexuality, or like he's okay with who he is as a gay man, but like he's not trying to wear it as a costume, basically, is what I got from what he was saying, which I think is fair enough.
I thought he felt left out, and he was just upset that he thought that they think they're above him now because they're on a reality TV show.
That there is that point. I think that's later on because there's a bit before that where Alexis is saying, oh, like, you know, on the show you have like A characters, B characters, C characters, or whatever. They were trying to make Nick kind of like friend of the show sort of thing, but friend of the show in that, oh, I'm this gay best friend sort of thing. And so then there's a bit where they're saying like, oh, you know, like the producer's like, oh, he wasn't good, like he kind of sucked sort of thing. So they dropped him off the show. He wasn't really on it that much. They didn't use him. Fair. And he was trying to say the reason that he kind of felt off about it is because they wanted to make him this gay best friend. And it's like, mate, I'm not trying to have that as my identifier. Like, I'm not trying to be like your typical, especially back then when everyone had a gay, quote unquote. Like, I'm not trying to, so like that. Then he wasn't part of the show, and then when the show became quote unquote successful, that's when he kind of felt like, oh, you guys think you're above me because you're on the show.
Okay, yeah, fair.
So we get into like drugs, like hardcore drugs, OxyContin, yeah. Tess and Gabby give it to Alexis for the first time, and you'll remember OxyContin from episode 3, The Pharmacist, yeah, where it was all about OxyContin, yeah, and they get addicted because it's highly addictive. And so Andrea asks Tess to leave, and then Alexis leaves and stays with Nick for a while. And this is when Nick says Alexis wants to get involved with the robbing, and Alexis is like, yeah, I don't recall all that. Alexis, you're fucking lying.
Yeah.
Alexis, you a lie, the truth ain't in you.
This is when she no longer became a trustworthy kind of narrator to me, because Nick, exactly. I had my doubts. Her mum is obviously a liar, but this one I was like, okay, I'm not too sure about you.
And then at this point in the documentary, like, we have nobody to root for. Like, there's nobody here that I like. Like, I detest you all.
I mean, I started off hating everyone, so I've been consistent throughout.
Yes, of course, but it's like you hate them all because it's like you're not likable, and I don't trust anything you have to say.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, there's really going to be no one. The only person I liked in the documentary was fucking Greg Kading, the policeman who was speaking sense.
I liked the lawyer at the end.
Oh yeah, we get there, don't we? Yes. Yeah, women.
And I liked the DAs.
Yeah, the women.
Yeah.
So the robbing continues. Nick says Alexis begs to go. Alexis says she was open to the idea because she wanted money for drugs. They really brush over this drugs thing. And I'm like, you are so addicted that you want to rob to pay for drugs.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not what this is about. Instead, it's about telling us about Calabasas and all this stuff.
Josh Altman.
So Rachel brings a friend. So Nick is like, do you know what? I'm going to bring someone too. Because his position is feeling threatened. Yeah. Because Rachel brings like Courtney or whoever it is. With Diana, that's it. And then what's his name? Nick brings Alexis. So the target this time is Orlando Bloom. Yeah, he's back.
Our friend.
So Alexis is like, you know, she was high on drugs at the time. Nick is like, she was sober. Again, they are literally directly contradicting each other. Like, both of these things can't be true. You can't have been both high and sober at the same time. What is the truth?
So stupid.
What's the point of this documentary if we're not going to get the truth?
Exactly. And no one to corroborate anything.
Anything. And it's not like we have a third party. Like, if we had Rachel who was like, oh yeah, no, she was definitely high. Yeah. Or like, oh no, she was definitely sober. Nothing. So it's just like, okay, he said, she said, by the seashore. Like, what the fuck? So they rob the house. That's that. Alexis moves back home after this, and then their show gets picked up.
And when they rob the house, this is what I was mentioning earlier. So I said, why don't they have masks? Their massive ideas: walk backwards to avoid cameras.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Were masks not available? I do not understand. It's not possible. So funny. To get a mask, it's not so possible.
Funny and you see the footage of them walking backwards.
Like, what was going on?
It's like, okay. It's crazy. So E picks up their show. They get a $50,000 sign-ins bonus each and $100,000 for the season each. Crazy. Alexis now feels like she's that bitch. She's like chilling with celebrities. She's getting flued out. She's loving life, yeah. And she stops robbing. So she only actually did that Orlando Bloom robbery. That was it, yeah. Nick goes back to robbing with Rachel. They rob Lindsay Lohan, and that's supposed to be their last one.
Again, I ask, are masks not an option?
No,
because again, they don't wear masks.
No masks. So this bit was kind of confusing because they go, and then like they try the door or whatever, they abandon it because it's too risky. But then they go back through a window. But that was the same day, right?
Yes, because he says, and this is why I'm like, I wish Rachel was here, because he says he doesn't want to lose his friendship with Rachel, which seems to be predicated on their, joint love of burglarizing.
Because that's their bonding activity, basically. Yeah.
So he didn't want to, even though there's no easy escape, he didn't want to abandon ship because then Rachel wouldn't be his friend.
Exactly. So it's almost like blaming it all on Rachel. But yeah, so there's CCTV footage, of course, because no masks, and they link this to the Audrina robbery. Great. So this episode is basically ended now, but before it ends, Alexis calls the police and says that Nick is the person in the Lindsay Lohan robbery, which is so dumb because you were also
stupid.
robbing. Are you a stupid bitch? Are you stupid?
I literally wrote, Alexis snitches to police, a dumb bitch. Alexis' sister knows she's dumb as fuck.
Literally, because are you alright? Like, I don't understand. You two, you robbed with them, yeah? And then because you didn't do this particular robbery, because honestly, maybe they would have caught them eventually, but like they weren't really close. They knew that these two were the same person, but they didn't know. That's all they knew. And Alexis, you that robbed.
It was just ridiculous.
And partook in previous robberies.
And then also she says something which is like, Nick, you're an idiot too. She said, identifies Nick's and points out that he wears the hat he always wears. I'm like, why would you wear your signature hat to commit all these crimes?
And it's a shit hat as well.
Like, I just don't they're all so stupid. Nick too was a dumb bitch because we called Alexis a bitch. We called Nick a bitch too.
Yeah,
everyone's a bitch.
Everyone's stupid. Everyone's a bitch. Yeah, it's a bitches.
Listen.
Now it's episode 3. We're near the end, guys. Thank you for still being here. Fame and Fortune. Oh no, Fame and Misfortune. This one is called. Okay, so it's 4 years later. Okay, just fast forwarded right on up. I wish they'd done the same with this documentary. And we learn about the movie that is made about this case. Emma Watson is the biggest star and she is playing Alexis, even though Alexis wasn't the leader. She only did one robbery.
I say this, firstly, see how Hollywood whitewashes? Because my Asian sister should have been the leader. Brenda Song certainly was available.
Yeah.
So why couldn't she have been the lead? But it's fine.
Yeah.
Secondly, Emma Watson, you're better than this.
You think?
I know. Like, I actually know. Emma Watson is actually better than this movie.
I mean, but she did it. So is she better than it?
I need to tell her, Emma, if you're listening, for whatever reason, babes.
Emma, let's have a talk.
Yeah, this is not you. Because what the hell? But this is the thing. I think the reality show and everything, because I remember when I recall it, I don't recall the Bling Ring in full, but I always recall Alexis Nyers because I watched that reality show. And the way it was set up, you would have thought she was a really important character. She only did one burglary. She did one burglary, but the way they set it up...
And she was one of 4 in that burglary.
Exactly. But the way they set it up and the way that, you know, the cameras were rolling, it made her it seem like she had a bigger role than she did. And
which is her gripe with this whole thing.
Well, I don't know if it really is a gripe, because I do think that they loved it. Like, there was a part of them that loved
maybe
it.
at the time. Because when she's talking about it now, she's like, oh, yeah, but I only did one. But then also, again, back to you being a dumb bitch, yeah? You did one and then you reported you snitched. Because the thing is, you know why it's snitching? It's actually snitching and it's not testifying or witness or whatever the fuck it is. It's a snitch because you were involved in the crime, in a very similar crime with the same people, and then you're like, oh, hey, they did that one. And what, you thought you were going to get off scot-free?
She did. Her and Nick both thought they were going to get away with this. And I'm like, the privilege to genuinely commit a crime and think you're going to get away with it is wild.
But the thing with Alexis is that she was like, oh, I only did, I'm sorry, we'll get into it, but I only did one. Like, I didn't, that is a crime. You burgled a house. And you thought, oh yeah, because I helped you get the other person and I only did one. Even if you went there and you only took one Louis Vuitton belt, yeah, you burgled. You burgled.
Literally, it's like, oh, I only did just the one murder. Why are you coming after me? It was just the one.
I just
killing.
did one.
It's like, hello.
It's like a murder's a murder. It's a murder, babe.
So annoying.
You're a murderer. Yeah. So Nick is mad about Nick is mad about the fact that like Alexis is being made the main star and he wanted a bigger actor to play him. He says a young Tom Cruise
because they were going to go back in time to go get the young Tom Cruise to come back to the future
to come back and play him.
Yeah. And this is why I'm like, this man is full of shit. He spent this whole entire thing acting like, you know, almost downplaying how much he was involved. His involvement, and you know, because I just wanted to be friends with Rachel and I was just so desperate to be friends with Rachel and this is why and it's all Rachel. But when we get to this moment, you can tell he's mad that Alexis is seen as the leader because he says something along the lines of like he was one of the main people. Like, okay, so you're copping to it now.
Yeah. Now that there's Hollywood involved.
Yeah. And now that young Tom Cruise didn't play you, I feel as though honestly to an extent now, I do think there's a bit more retrospection with Alexis, but I do kind of feel like she did enjoy being seen as the leader. And I think Nick was mad because he wasn't seen as the leader, because he was the leader. And so he was mad that he didn't get his time to shine.
His recognition, yeah. Alexis was happy to be seen as the leader because of the fame that it that it brought, but she didn't want like leader sentencing, like she didn't want like leader responsibilities.
And she talks about it from the perspective of, you know, jail and crime. It's I didn't do too much, but
Exactly.
you're happy to be seen as leader. But Nick
Exactly.
says he was the face, and so he was mad that
They're all just stupid. They're all just mad. So Nick gets arrested and he's told he can get 2 to 6 years in prison. And to be fair, the evidence isn't really that strong. Like, there's just CCTV that's a bit shaky. And Rachel's gone to Vegas to stay with her dad. Yeah. Nick's dad. Okay, so Nick, do you know what? Yeah. Do you actually know what? Yeah. Like, Nick is a dumb bitch. Nick,
Dumb
his dad
bitch.
gets him a lawyer to represent
Yes.
him. Nick, who should be most concerned with trying to stay out of prison. Nick says,
My dad initially had called a lawyer that he knew to be good, but I didn't want an old geezer with a pot belly, even if that was the best attorney in town, to represent me. I wanted somebody that looked flashy and looked good. The image was more important almost than the qualification. Enter an attorney named Sean Aaronsoft.
he basically wanted a sexy lawyer, someone who looked good. Enter Sean Aaronsoft, yeah? Sean is here with us today, yeah? He's tall, silver fox, tailored suit. He basically is a bit of Nick. He's what Nick wanted to represent him, yeah?
Nick says he worked out. He had a nice jawline. They're just so vapid. Like you're on trial, and by my calculation, because Sean says
at
Nick
this point, how many years?
So Sean says Nick is facing 48 years. By my calculation, it should be 60 years and 66 months. 60 years and 6 months.
But that's based upon everything that they've shown us in the thing, which they didn't know about.
Exactly.
They only knew about Orlando Bloom, Lindsay Lohan's one.
And Audrina.
Patridge.
But Nick's lawyer says he was facing for 48 years. It should have been 60, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And yet, all you care about is, I want a sexy lawyer.
Yeah.
Please stop.
And the thing is, if your lawyer did his job correctly, which, spoiler alert, he doesn't, that would be fine.
Thank God.
Maybe, yes, you just want a sexy lawyer, but he's a great lawyer and he does his job correctly. As Aki's already said, 48 years is basically what you're gonna get, yeah? As opposed to the initial 2 to 6 that they came to you with, right? Cool. So Sean gets Nick a deal. He says, if you tell us everything and about everyone involved, you're going to get immunity. So Tess tells Nick that Alexis called the police. They have a really heated discussion, yeah? And Alexis is just so dumb. Again, dumb bitch. Because I can imagine Nick's like, right, like, how are you going to snitch on me when you were involved in Orlando Bloom's house? And even today, she's like, yeah, I didn't think anything was going to happen to me because I didn't do that much. And it's like, again, we say, you robbed. What did you think they were going to say? Oh, just give it back. It'll be all right. It's a mix between like the ignorance and the privilege and the entitlement. I don't understand it.
It is. I at this point I was livid and I wanted to throw my laptop because Nick thought he was not going to get any time at one point. He thought, and then Alexis, being the dumb fool that she is, said, I didn't think I was going to be in trouble, and she didn't think that Nick would snitch after he confronted her about her own stitching. Is everyone stupid?
They are.
Everyone a dickhead.
But I think we literally could have ended this episode when you said that they're tapped. They're tapped. Like, how can I explain it? Like, they're tapped. They're dumb. Nothing is anything. It doesn't make sense. Everyone here is crazy. They should all take them and all throw them away somewhere else.
I was so
ridiculous.
I was so livid. And I was like, is this why he is so smug? Because he got an immunity deal? Is this what?
Yeah.
I was livid.
Well, so Nick snitches, in order to get his immunity, and he tells them everything, which is very stupid because he tells them everything, like even the robberies they didn't know about, and they wouldn't have been able to put together. And we have this attorney, Sarika, who says
she's a DA.
Basically, she hero.
This was, in my opinion, unusual. Most attorneys will advise their client, let's wait to see what the investigation presents before you say anything.
Basically, his attorney, the Silver Fox, is weird because it's like normally you'd wait to see what the police have before you start singing like a canary, and Nick singing every song, every lyric, every album, he's singing, and then he really thinks that he's free after this. He thinks that, you know what, I've done my bit now, immunity, I'm free. And he's kind of like, like, I'm really sad for my friends, but I had to do what I had to do for me, sir.
I literally wrote Nick feigns sadness at the death of fake friendships.
So Alexis and her family are filming their show when the police come to arrest Alexis. And we see the footage, right? Do you remember seeing this episode? Because you used to watch the show.
I don't recall it. It might be used in promo, but I don't fully recall. I don't fully recall the show in and of itself. I just recall the characters. I can remember Tess. When Tess came up, I was like, oh, I remember you.
So they find stuff from the Rachel Bilson robbery and they take them in. Rachel's also arrested. And Nick sees that now he's been charged. Okay, so let me say that properly, Rachel, Alexis, and all of them man get arrested, yeah. Nick is kind of like, okay, great, like obviously they're going to get arrested because I've told them everything, right? But now he sees that he's not just got the charges for, you know, Lindsay Lohan, he's got the charges for all the other burglaries, right?
Yeah.
And he calls Sean, the lawyer, the Silver Fox, and is like, hey, what the fuck? And Sean is like, oh, don't worry, like immunity is en route, yeah. And so it's only now that Nick is like, hey, can I have that immunity in writing? And Sean's like, oh no, don't worry about it, I shook his hand. And he's like, huh? What? And Nick now realizes that, in his words, he's fucked.
It seems that working out in a nice jawline does not a good attorney make.
It does not a good attorney
Who would have
make.
thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Certainly not
Who
I.
would have thunk it?
Let me tell you something. Anyone that's watched true crime or a crime show knows. Don't speak without an attorney, right? You
Yeah.
ask for your lawyer and you keep it moving. And most attorneys will tell you not to speak.
Yeah.
And the DA says this.
And so
She's like...
if your attorney tells you to... Because why... I'm sorry, yeah. You claiming you went to Paris Hilton's house and took her car and key. Why would I commit to any... Like, if I'm in this situation, yeah, you tell me what you know. Cool. The most I'm admitting to is what you've told me that you know. And even then, maybe you don't even know. You could be bluffing. Because even though you're wearing the signature hat and whatever, that may not be enough for a jury to say, yeah, that's definitely you. Because can you, without reasonable doubt, say that that's me?
It's just so wild. And like his lawyer, God bless him, an idiot, because he was like, oh, immunity deals are usually in writing,
even
but
bless
this one wasn't. But he had Brett
shook his
Goodkin's
hand.
commitment that he placed it in writing in the police report. And I'm like, yeah, because police officers have never ever lied.
They've never been deceitful ever.
They're not them.
Synonymous with deceit.
No, they protect and serve. That's all they do. Like, come on. Like, you can't be that much of an idiot. I mean, I'm happy he is.
For fucking real. Yeah,
But-
I'm happy. Both of them, do you know what? In this situation, it's like, all foreigners will say, like, how could so many deranged and stupid people all find themselves in this one place, in
Mate.
this one situation? Like, it's just anyway, I'm not mad at any of it, because you deserve to go to jail. So it turns out the arrest scene wasn't as authentic as it seemed. Obviously, it was remade. And the thing is, if you watch enough reality TV, you fucking know this anyway, yeah? But Alexis is like having to remake it was really brutal. And the producers, Jennifer Baji and Amber, they don't want to admit that they refilmed it, yeah, and that it's fake. But obviously we know, yeah, because
100%.
they get one of the producers to like bang on the door and pretend to be the police officer and blah, blah, blah.
I think
Anyway,
it's so
after
sick.
this... Yeah, I think the reason why as well that Eki saying that Alexis loved this is possibly true is because after this the show gets greenlit, because the producers are like to us, like, we kind of had a show but we didn't really have a show, like what direction were we trying to take it in, what were the point of these characters, what was it all for? Whereas now that this happened, it's like the trial, we're going to cover the trial, we're going to cover if she goes to jail, we're going to, you know, go through the ups and downs, and that made it like, great, we're going to greenlight the show, and they did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There wouldn't be no show without the scandal. And I'll tell you what, the scandal happened. They only had one season.
Yeah.
So it didn't do what they wanted it to.
It didn't make sense, yeah. Nick is still trying to curry favour from the police by sending Facebook pictures of like all the friends and stuff wearing stolen items. And it's like, babes, let it go. You're going to jail. Like, it's enough.
Also, I do want to say to the scammers out there, if you are out there, the police still watch social media, because people still do this. They still go out and scam, and then they get on social media and they flaunt
And
their
flex.
shit. And the police are watching that.
Yeah.
So I just want people to be smarter. I'm not here for criminals.
I want them to continue to be stupid.
I
Do your
mean,
thing,
yeah,
babes.
I think I just have an issue with people just being so incredibly idiotic.
Yeah, like, I feel like if you're gonna, like, in this life, yeah, if you want to do something, like, why not try your best and do it well? Like, I'm not saying you should do bad things, but like, don't you want to be good at the bad things that you do? I don't get it. Like, don't you want to succeed? I don't get it.
I'm not here for the mediocrity, because I'm just shocked that something like this hasn't happened again.
Yeah.
I guess maybe security's better, so that's why. But like, people still kind of do the whole sort of flaunting, and you see it on social media, and people, you know, they do still steal and scam in order to do that flaunting. I'm shocked that we don't get more people kind of being caught this way, but also more people being robbed because of this.
I think robbing now is more so like electronic and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't really going into people's houses. They're gonna just eat you and take money from your account and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Or they're gonna call you and say, "Hey, we've got an O2 discount for you."
Oh mate, Harry keeps calling me.
It's very scammers. Or the emails where they're like, "Oh, hey, we've got your parcel. Click here to redeliver."
It's
just shit like that.
ridiculous.
But they're
Yeah,
still
I guess
trying.
you're right. Yeah. So we meet Alexis' attorneys, Jeff Rubenstein and Susan, I want to say Haber or Harbour. Susan didn't like the idea of doing the reality show. She wasn't a fan. Jeff loves it. And Jeff keeps calling himself, at that time, ambitious. And I just feel like ambitious is his way of saying attention-seeking as hell.
Yeah.
He loved being in the middle of a high-profile case. And in fact, they would curate scenes. Yep. So the producers would tell them, and this is what I was saying earlier when I said I had to kind of rescind the idea that Alexis wasn't vulnerable, because you have Jeff, who's a lawyer, and he's old now, so I'm assuming he was old back then. He was definitely old enough to know better, being so taken in by this reality TV show that when the producers say, hey, we need you to do a scene where you tell her what to wear, he comes along, and not only does he do the scene and just comply, he really goes for it. Like, he really puts in an acting
his best performance.
He's making jokes. Like, he thinks this is his big break.
He's trying to come across as very charismatic and like, yes, this is going to make me that celebrity lawyer.
Very much a fame whore. And, you know, we see other sort of things that he, you know, partakes in later and other scenes that he decides that he would do. And it's just ridiculous because you're actually a lawyer.
Yeah. You're a professional.
A professional. You're not a 16, 17-year-old idiot.
Yeah.
You're an old one.
And it's like, this is why the fame thing, the wanting fame is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, just fame for fame's sake is so dangerous, because it's like, you have a good career, you're a lawyer, you probably get paid very well, like, you're not lacking for much, like, but it's this is the cherry on the cake that you're willing to get, like, do you know what I mean, to act a fool for. And like, now even to camera, he's like crying and like regretting it and stuff, and it's just like, babes, like, come on, like,
it's like another performance.
You're grown then and you're grown now, like, it's not like you were a child, like,
you
and
knew
that
better.
other lawyer, the lady, she from the beginning was like, this is weird, this is fucked, she wanted no parts.
Yeah. Susan knew it was bullshit, but Jeff was really on it. Like, it was ridiculous. They mic'd up the court, and they even had, like, you see the sort of replay of it, and they have those reality TV sound effects, and it's just, it's annoying. And it's like, she's getting all of this because she stole from Orlando Bloom.
Exactly.
It's wild. I'm over it. Sarita is over it. We're all over it.
Yeah. Yep, we're over it. So before the trial, well, not even before the trial, during the trial, Alexis does an interview with Vanity Fair. Very dumb thing to do, but hey ho, she's a dumb bitch. We've established that already. I'm sure Susan was opposed to this. But the producers read this article, like, and they know Alexis is not going to like it. So they put the article in the mailbox and they make sure that they are filming when they're reading it. And so Alexis is having a breakdown, okay? Like a big tantrum, because she thinks that the interview is kind of going like, oh, you know, like, how are you doing? How are things? Blah, blah, blah. But they're kind of turning it around to be like, oh, look at this dumb rich bitch wearing Louboutins and stealing from people.
But this is what I was confused, because Alexa sort of says, oh, this is an opportunity for me to share another part of myself that isn't shown on the show. But the whole interview is done on the show. So if you're supposedly faking for the show and you do this interview on the show, then you're still faking in this interview. Yeah, so you're not going to show anything different.
What's this other part, though, that we're supposed to see?
Like, and she's...
Is this philanthropy, or what is it? What is this other part?
And she's so happy that she's not just a TMZ girl now, she's a Vanity Fair girl. Like, she's so proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when what's it put that she was in Vogue?
Oh, the Ari. That she was on the cover of Vogue and people believed it even though it didn't make sense.
Yeah. So Nick is mad that he's not on the show, as we said earlier, but he's also happy because now the paparazzi are after him. Asterix, he's calling them on himself, but okay. He's loving it though. Yeah, this is what he always wanted. And he's just so weird. He's just weird. Like, I have so many notes where I'm like, he's just so weird. He does interviews on TV, even though Sean, the lawyer, says not to. They eventually go their separate ways.
Yeah, because his lawyer's a novice and has proven himself to be a bit of an idiot. But he was right as far as suggesting not to do interviews. This man is walking.
Now he's doing his job and you're ignoring him.
Yeah, he's now got a contact at TMZ. He's getting papped, as you said, in Orlando Bloom's shit, wearing Orlando Bloom's shit. It's wild.
And he was so happy to tell us that. Because low key, we wouldn't have known. It's just a fucking hat. It's just some sunglasses. Yeah. He was like, oh yeah, I was wearing Orlando Bloom. You don't regret a thing. You don't regret a thing. He only regrets that he wasn't the main character on the movie. Yeah. That's all.
I genuinely thought when he was griping about who played him, I thought he was going to say he wanted Orlando Bloom to play him. He was just that much of an idiot. I thought he would say that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Alexis is an addict. I feel like this is really serious, but it wasn't really spoken about.
Yeah.
I guess that's not what they were here for. She's addicted to heroin, and the show doesn't know. But when they find out, they kind of have to like script it in. So it's almost like an ambush. So they say to Andrea, like, look, you're gonna find these pills in the bathroom, and then you're gonna have to confront Alexis. This is what I mean by them being characters, because I mean, and to be honest, maybe this is how Andrea would have handled it anyway. Yeah. But I think any normal parent might have said, okay, I've seen these pills, even if it's while we're filming, I might wait till we're done filming and just say, hey girl, look, I don't know what's going on. Do you need help? Do you want to talk? But Angie's like, what are these pills? What is this? Da, 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 da. And so like, of course, Alexis feels ambushed because she has been. And also, she's not on pills. Those are not her pills. Yeah. But she is on drugs, right?
She's on heroin. Get it right.
Exactly. She's on heroin. They can't be like, oh, here's some heroin, find this. No. Do you know what I mean? So they have to kind of script it in. So yeah, it's all fucked. And then there's back to the lawyers, Jeff and Susan. They get I'm gonna say Jeff because like Susan, I don't think she's really culpable.
Yeah,
they get Jeff to basically film a scene with her saying, you know, I feel like it's looking good, you know, like it's gonna be good, it's going well, all that kind of stuff. And like that wasn't true. It was all produced. And you know, now again, this is the bit where Jeff is crying, I feel so bad about it, blah 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 blah. These lawyer scenes all reminded me of like Phaedra from Real Housewives. Yeah. I was like, I'm sure this was the extent of her lawyering. Like I'm sure that this was this was literally her experience.
It's just everyone's annoying. I'm so over it, and at this point I was very tired. I started watching it early this morning. I'm clearly ill. I just didn't need this, you know. And just watching them act so. There's one point, Jeff, and I'll sort of let you. Jeff says, "You have this fantasy as a lawyer that truth and justice will rue the day and show the detectives to be the liars that they are, and show Alexis to be an innocent person present at the scene." She wasn't innocent. Like, no one has disputed that she's not innocent. You're sitting here saying this like you've got a wrongly accused person who comes from something really difficult, who's been, you know, wrongfully accused.
She wanted money for drugs, and so she robbed a celebrity. That's literally the extent of this thing.
She robbed his house. She's not an innocent victim. Don't sit there and act like you're representing the West Memphis 3 or the Central Park 5. Like, you're not.
Exactly.
You're just not. It really pissed me off. I'm just like, Jeff, calm the hell down. Like, his integrity as a lawyer is absolutely shot. Just terrible. And Susan is still connected to him. I looked at their site. I was like, Susan, get your own practice, babe.
Yes. Susan, I'm like, girl, let him go.
Do thing. Let that man go. A liability, that one.
He is.
Oh, God.
He is. So let's get into these sentences. So Alexis enters a no contest plea, so she doesn't go to trial. She gets 3 years formal probation, 180 days in county jail, and restitution for the losses. Of those 180 days, she serves 32. So
it's ridiculous. She was facing 6 years.
And then she had to go to rehab. Yeah. So yeah. Nick settles the case. He gets 2 years in state prison, but only serves 1 year in a county jail. All this county jail, I was just remembering, did my time, county jail, just one thing. Who was that? Jamie Foxx?
I don't know.
And Twister. I feel like we had it on a video, and it's like
no, that was something else. No, we did, and it was Jamie Foxx Twister, but it wasn't that.
Okay.
But what's it called? Nick's new lawyer says something that I thought was quite funny. He said there is a disconnect with the real world in LA. They actually believe their own bullshit. And I just feel like that is Nick personified. Yeah. But then they do this thing where they sort of say Nick's new attorney, and then they give him sort of his lower third is now an inventor. And I was like, is that Shane? Do you think that he now believes his own bullshit? I thought that was quite funny.
But he does say something where he's kind of like, oh, like, well, I'm here doing a documentary, so like maybe I'm part of it as well, kind of thing. So there is a level of self-awareness that he has that like the others do not have, which makes me think that he's not the same as them. Do you get what I mean?
No, he's not at all. Yeah. Like, I agree with that completely.
Yeah. So Rachel pleads no contest. She gets 4 years in state prison.
She's released on parole after 16 months.
Yeah, thank you. I missed that bit. So now they want to go to trial for the other members, Roy Lopez, and then 2 of Rachel's friends, Diana and Courtney. One of the cops working on the case, again, people just want to be famous. One of the cops working on the case, he stars in the movie being made about the case. So that actual movie, the Emma Watson one, and the prosecution are like, okay, this is a fucking spanner in the works. We can't go to trial now. Like, what do we look like with the police guy starring in the movie? So they're like, right, cool, we need this to plead out, basically. So Roy pleads no contest. He gets 3 years probation, and I just want to say here that I'm happy that Roy, mi hermano Roy, didn't get any jail time.
Even mi hermana Diana Tamayo, because it just sounds kind of Latin.
Yeah, it's the same white. So I was just like, okay, I'm glad, because they tried to pin it on you and you didn't get any jail time. Well done. Dan and Courtney, they plead no contest again. They get 3 years probation, but they also get 60 days community service. And that's it. That's the documentary.
They do this thing when they finish off, right? And then I googled Nick to see where he is now, and I'll give you a nice little update about him. So anyway, Nick tries to give us a nice little life lesson that you need to have a good sense of self, and you just get the feeling that him and Alexa, they don't actually care about this, because they're just trying to blame society in them. Like Alexis says that this very accurate portrayal of them as celebrity obsessed, self-absorbed teens mean, you know, even though it's accurate, the actual real criminal, society. And how dare we not hold
in the back,
yeah, and how dare we not hold society and them accountable. And that's what
this is what I hate when people do the society thing, because like we're talking about society and stuff when it comes to like marginalized groups of people and things that are out of their control, homeless people, you know, gay people, black people, people of color, people who are marginalized, children, people who are vulnerable, or people who are marginalized. And it's like, maybe it's the way society isn't best helping these people, not because you made a choice and it fucked you and now literally we are to blame.
Oh, it pissed me off. Like, I was just like, okay, so they've clearly not learned everything. We went to read 3 episodes just to find out what we knew from the beginning, which is they don't care. They're mad that it kind of temporarily disrupted their lives, because by my count, Rachel and Nick should have gotten 60 years at max, 60 years, 6 months at max. Yeah. Alexis, 6 years.
They didn't even do a year in jail, did they?
The most anyone did was Rachel, 16 months. That is the most anyone did. I think in a county. No, she was in state prison, I think. Yeah, she was in state prison. I mean, I don't know if she served it in a county. That's it. Nick came out and he did his year in a county jail. Like, it just pisses me off so much. I'm like, you did not get any substantial amount of time for what you did. Yeah. And I just can't help but think how many young black kids who are in dire straits who kind of do this, and it's not to sort of, you know, say, oh, this is fair, whatever, but they do things because of their situation, right?
Yeah.
How many of them have been sentenced as adults?
They actually are forced into those situations, and they're and it's the thing where it's like, I'm not saying that like, oh, you know, no one should be punished. It's just like, let's be punished equally then. Like, let's
I want it to be equally
before sentencing. Yeah,
they were sitting here meant to feel sorry for these people. They're not remorseful. They're awful.
Yeah. This was a small blip in their lives. This is a fun story that they tell at parties now. Mate. Like, oh, I've been to jail. Like, do you know what I mean?
100%, and it pisses me off.
Yeah. But now it's time for...
The real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Have you got one? I've got one. I'm going to go first.
You go.
So the real crime, I think, was the fact that you can just find these lots of dresses from a website. I think that is
bizarre,
ridiculous, and what the hell. The real crime, I think, was these hats that Nick was wearing. Okay, and Eki mentioned this before, but there's like this like scene of him like just wearing different clothes and trying things on and stuff, and it's like they use it throughout the documentary, and it's just not a single serve, not a single Luke, nothing. Nothing. The real crime, I think, was Andrea, the mum. Weird vibes. The affirmation went on for an age, and she just was, I don't think that maybe mothering was her calling.
No,
I'll say it like that. Have you got one?
I didn't like Gabby's blazer. I'm sorry, it's not the real crime, but that's something that
is the real crime. That's the
when she popped up, I was like, oh, I don't like this, babe. Like, it just feels very Pretty Little Thing boohoo. Like, why is there a tie? I just don't think blazer should be that. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. The parenting in this is shocking. How did no one's parents, you know, figure out that maybe their kids were into something?
Stop. Your son comes home with a new car that you can't afford because all you have is a Honda. And no questions were asked. Okay.
I just think it was just so stupid. I think another crime, Emma Watson, you're better than this.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the other actors, but you two are better than this.
Exactly.
Sophia Coppola.
I don't know how much they paid her.
You two are better than this. You're all better than this. We are all better than this. Like, no one should have to watch this. We are
better than this documentary.
It's so, like, it'll piss you off, especially if you're someone who does not relate to privilege. It will piss you off to see them try to make these people seem
like victims.
And it's like they can't even do a half decent job at that because they're not victims. I'm sorry.
Like, and also the real crime, I think, is watching this on Channel 4 and having a million ads in between.
Because Netflix wasn't working.
Netflix and the VPN thing, I had to do Netflix and the VPN thing.
So that, another crime. I was so, oh my goodness. And I'm ill. And I had to do an Aboniki bath. It was a lot. I just...
Shout out the Aboniki bath. I get what scenes this. Well, you know, you had a Nick update.
Yes. So Nick in 2014 was sentenced to 160 days in jail for violating parole. And guess how they found out?
This?
Yeah, so he was on parole after this, right? And then he violated. So he had actually travelled out of state without permission. And so he was sentenced to 160 days. Guess how they found out? And this is completely...
Social media.
No, they found this out because there was a woman who ran a skin shop and she was arrested for attempting to hire a member of the Detroit Lions, which is an NFL team, to kill the owner of a rival skin shop. Random as hell.
What the hell is happening?
So then she was in the interrogation room singing like a canary, and she said she was being harassed online. I don't know how this was related to her trying to hire an NFL player to kill someone, but she was being harassed online by a man named Edward Feinstein, who booked fake personal ads in her name, and she said that Feinstein's roommate was Nick Prugo, and that Nick was right. She was singing about everyone and everything.
That is so... Because how is that even connected to your impending case?
Yeah. It's not, because I saw Murder for Hire Plot. I said, oh, because it was on TMZ. Of course it was. And I was like, oh, and I was like, he's not even he's not even a part of it, but he just happens to be a roommate to someone that she doesn't fuck with, so she threw him under the bus too. I said, well,
mad thing.
Isn't that interesting?
Mad thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny how he was snitching on his friends and then he got snitched on.
Stitched on, yeah. Literally minding his business, travelling out of state without permission. And
drinking his water, minding his biz. Yeah. Love
when
that.
Days ever rated 2 day on his dick.
Flip flop, flippy flip flopping ass bitch. Okay, so yes, that's it. That's actually it now. Thank you so much for being here with us. Honestly,
I'm alright.
Eki, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I know you're an antisocial babe. I know you're not going to want to take a picture with me, so I'll put a baby picture of us on my Instagram.
Thank you.
Get well soon in that. But
I will
honestly, everyone, if you're still here, thank you so much for listening. For rocking with us this year. This is our last episode of the year.
Oh wow,
and
that's
our
a lot.
last episode till February. Yeah, we're taking a break throughout January. If you're still here, please rate us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, no, we have 51 ratings on Spotify so far, and it'd be great to come back and there's like 100. That would be amazing because I like round numbers and I like multiples of 5. So yeah, thank you. What about what?
75.
No, it's not really a round number in my head.
I think
it's round, yeah, mathematically, but not in my head. So yeah, thank you again for being here. Honestly, we really do appreciate you guys. Can't wait to come back, but this break is necessary. So yeah, thanks again. Really appreciate you, honestly. It's so weird because like normally it's like, oh, we're gonna play a trailer, but there's no trailer because I have no idea what we're gonna do next.
You should play like some outro music or elevator music. Should we do some elevator music? I don't know. I can't do that. I've got a headache.
We'll think about it in post. Anything you'd like to say to the people?
Not really.
No, get well soon, babes.
Nothing. Thank you. I will try.
All right then. Bye.
Bye. And mum kept, sorry, this is a sidebar. She kept so she fills up a bucket with hot water and a bonnet, and then she'll come in and she'll be like, okay, put your head, and she'll put a towel over your head, and she's probably trying to submerge you into this bonnet, and it's like, babe, she's like, breathe in, breathe out, and then it gets to the back of your throat, and she's like, yeah, it's working, keep going, and I'm like, this is
again,
a
for
bit
anyone
much.
not familiar, yeah, a bonnet is like, it's like vapor rub, yeah, but it's like times 1,000. Yeah, it's like Vicks, but like times 1,000, yeah. And there's another one that we have in Nigeria called Rob, but Rob is a bit better. It's a bit smoother and it's a bit less harsh. A bonnet, I swear to God, I don't think I have nose hairs left. Like, I think I have singed my fucking... But yeah, so my mum, like, whenever we're ill, she'll come and say, have you got a bonnet? Rub a bonnet. No, you're not doing it properly.
And it doesn't matter what the illness is. I recently hurt myself in an accident at work that wasn't my fault, and I scraped my knee. I'd literally been in, I went away for work, right? I'd been in Frankfurt for about 30 minutes and I hurt myself. This is very on brand for me, unfortunately.
So on brand.
On a statue, it's fine. The statue didn't move, but I did. Anyway, and then I dropped, and then there's like a group of people walking past and they were like, alles gut? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay, thank you. And I was like,
nicht gut, danke.
I was like, I'm really embarrassed myself and I've not even been here for an hour. Wow. Anyway, I have a scar on my thing because it started bleeding, and the first thing when I showed mummy, she was like, have you put a bonnet? Like, she thinks it heals everything. I remember in school,
everything. If you could ingest it, she would drink it.
Oh, 100%. I remember in school,
you know what,
play.
they used to lather us in a boniki, like, and we'd go out like that, and it's like, you don't realise it actually smells like vile. Like, it's like,
smell
mate, you can't just be
terribly.
smelling. And it's like, it's not just like, oh, you smell for a little bit. Like, it is in your clothes, your scarf, because then you make you put the scarf on that tight.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's literally all up in you. Yeah, it's that boniki. God, honestly.
Mate, it's terrible. Oh, Dad's sending me videos. Okay, sorry.
Why are you getting the videos? Put your phone on flight mode.
Oh shit, yeah. I thought it was on flight mode.